Hello everybody, I'm Martin. Welcome to another episode of Minecraft Enigmatica 2 Expert. Last episode, we actually made all of the fueling systems we need to create a Mekanism Fusion reactor. But we ran out of time to actually make the reactor. So I think this time, it's time to head back to the overworld in our base and actually build the reactor. That said, that doesn't mean I know what I'm doing. It's a good thing this particular reactor can't actually explode, eh? Alright, so let's talk about the fusion reactor and the pieces that we need. And they're all laid out in the actual quest tree for this, because you need a controller, a reactor frame, and a reactor port, and a laser matrix. The reactor frames are just a whole bunch of steel casings and an atomic alloy. I set this up to be automated, so that part was easy. The reactor ports are just those frames around a circuit, and the controller is pretty much the same, but with a fusion core, which is a whole bunch of nuclear craft parts. Again, I mostly just automated all of this, so that was all easy to do. We do need to, however, talk about two more things that aren't actually in the book, but are absolutely required to start this. And that's the laser amplifier and the laser. And the laser amplifiers are pretty easy to make, as well as the lasers themselves. And you need those to actually jumpstart the reactor once you've got everything set up. So let's take a quick look at how I had this set up at a basic level. I laid out the very bottom frame of the fusion reactor just so I know where things would be placed. Up above it here, I have two amplifiers with four lasers pointing into them. Amplifiers can chain together, but you want the lead one that's pointing towards your reactor to be turned off until you need it, because it expends all of its energy all at once. You also don't want to be in front of the laser when it fires, because when it fires it hurts people, and I think pretty much kills players, and destroys blocks. If we run over to here, you can see where I had it turned on initially, and it just bored a hole straight all the way across multiple chunks. So you definitely do not want to be standing in front of this. If we look inside the amplifier, you can see that it's slowly drawing power out of my storage system, and we've got about 100 million RF stored already. Each laser makes this go a bit faster, and we need 400 million RF to kick off the fusion reactor. So it's actually going at a decent clip. If we add more, it will go faster. And I do have two more amplifiers set up and four more lasers to add to this for this process. You want to, when you put them down, one side will have this red block. You need this red block facing in the direction you want the lasers to fire, so you need it facing into your next amplifier. If you click against the block, it'll face in that direction. So if I put my next one down, they all chain together. And then we can just add the lasers and they will feed in. You see the laser going into here, which then feeds down the line. If we look inside here, you can see that it's not storing any because it's just getting transmitted down to the later ones. Now this is filling up ever so slightly faster. Alright, so while this continues to charge, we should actually probably build out the actual reactor. And the shape of it's kind of weird. It's kind of like a star shape. Alright, so I've got it mostly formed here. I actually added a third port on it because I forgot I needed one for each fuel input and one to get power out. You only need two if you're putting in DT fuel directly into it, but that has a massive downside. And when you put the last block on, you see that it does those red poofs, and it signifies that it's complete. If we go in here, you can see that the controller is active, and we can put the whole ROM in, and it's now ready to be charged up and fired up, but we don't have fuel going into it. Here you can adjust the injection rate, which we will need to do. We're going to put it at 2 for now, just to have it start with, because it'll feed the tritium and the deuterium in and create DT fuel, which it will then consume. The downside to just pumping DT fuel in that I mentioned a second ago is that the reactor will consume any DT fuel it gets instantaneously. So if you're pumping it in, it will drain all of your reserves and it will light up, create a humongous blast of energy, and then immediately shut down and cool off, which means you'll have to re-kickstart it back off with another 400 million RF, which is not ideal at all. If you're feeding in tritium and deuterium to create it inside the reactor, however, it's based off the injection rate, which it means it does a slow trickle feed of DT fuel and keeps it going much more slowly. It doesn't create the initial huge blast of energy, but it will at least not run out. I don't know what my injection rate actually is. The guide I saw said what we just created can handle about 60. I'm not convinced of that because it also mentioned you needed 6 pumps. So I guess we're going to see what it can handle and modify it as we go once we figured out what it stabilizes at. But now, the waiting game for power. Okay, we have enough power charged up in the laser to kick this off. Let's hope I have everything set up right. And we should be good to go. And there you can see that it is now powering up. going to turn this back off. I also broke the connection to the lasers because these will just constantly eat power and we don't need it anymore. Coming up to the top, you can see that it is now charging up full of power super fast. And coming in here, it is generating only about 100,000 a tick right now. No, it's charging, it feels like it's producing way faster than that. No, it's 100,000 a tick right now, but it's stored up 100. So as you can see, we already have over 1 million RF stored. The production rate, it claims it's going down. But it is using the fuel, so I think we're good to go. And we haven't run out. The plasma rate is going down though. Why is this going down? Oh no. Oh, because the min injection rate is 6. We need to fix that. Well, the bad news is I apparently screwed this up, and it's going to turn off. I may not have had the injection rate high enough, so I think it ran out of fuel immediately and didn't actually kick off correctly. So I'm going to have to charge the lasers back up again, which is unfortunate. But before we do that, we should show you how I'm going to get the power out of it, and we're going to use the cryo-stabilized flux duct because the transfer rate is infinite on it. There might be other choices, but I don't know of them. I'm only going to put it into this energy cell here, which stores up, I think, 100 million, which isn't going to be enough long term, but it's a start. Long term, we can use like a mechanism induction matrix or a big huge capacitor bank from Ender IO, or the draconic evolution big huge glowy sphere of doom thing that I don't remember the name of and can't make currently. But I guess I better go power the lasers back up and make another whole room. Alright, so the lasers charged back up. That didn't take too long. I was actually able to feed it off the battery down there, so it mostly just fed off the power we created off the fusion reactor last time. Let's double check that the injection rate is 6, and that 6 is what's required. I suppose I should note that it does list a water-cooled rate. That's because you can pump water into this to make it output steam instead, and pump that into a steam turbine for a massive power boost. I don't need that yet. When it comes time to that I do need that much power, we'll consider it, but I'm not going to worry about that for now. Alright, so now that I have the injection rate set to the correct amount to start it, I think it's working properly. I'm not an expert on these though. But if we come into the settings and look into heat, it's slowly going down, but it's staying at about the 134 rate so far and going really slow. Same with case heat at about, actually this went up from the last time I looked. It looks like this is staying at about 90. Which is what these stats say it should be at about. And if we look at the fuel, you can see that these say 997 each instead of 1000 like they did last time. So I think it's doing 3 from each, and it's actually doing this properly. So now what I have to do is make sure that I'm actually getting enough tritium out of that. The deuterium appears to be no problem. That's staying maxed out inside the gas tank that it has. But the tritium gas tank never filled up, and when I added the ultimate pipes, it completely emptied it. So I have to see if it eventually backs up into that tank. If it does, we're good. If it doesn't, I need to add more condensers. Because right now the power rate isn't anything amazing. It's only producing about 180k RF a tick, which, I mean, my hamster farm beats that. But the injection rate's low, and the guide that I read said it went up to a couple million. So honestly, as soon as I confirm that the deuterium is actually producing enough, we'll try creeping that up. I don't know if I have to stop and restart the reactor if I do, but I'm recharging the lasers just in case. Anyhow, we've accomplished the most important thing we wanted to do, which was finish off the mechanism chapter. So let's take that loot chest and see what we get. Let's watch it be more extreme reactor casings, eh? Flux crystal block, which is, it saves me some time at least. Okay, so I couldn't stop fiddling with the reactor because I actually ran out of power again. It completely powered down on me because apparently my tritium generation wasn't enough. So I actually beefed up the tritium collectors inside the end. I added 6 of them at full speed upgrades and a couple rotary condensators to produce more liquid lithium to send to them. And it seems to be doing better now. In fact, it's doing so well, I've been able to increase the injection rate up to 26 from 6. So this means it's now generating 780k RF versus the less than my hamster one that it was generating before. So I'd say that's a significant improvement. That said, I can probably make this well over 1 million now if I just double what I've got out there. I may not even need to make more lithium. I still have a massively positive supply of that. I'm filling up the barrel way faster than I'm emptying it, so I might just be able to go add like another whole array of the solar collectors. But that's a problem for another day. For now, we actually have more power than we need by a pretty large margin right now, so this should keep us going for a while. If you found this interesting or entertaining, please consider leaving a like or subscribe. As always, I'm Ard. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.